All right. So it's an absolute shocker of a day shocker of a weekend in Melbourne. It's the King's birthday weekend. But what better time to sort of run you through my project boat. So I've been sort of waiting to do a video on this, but I've also not had any motivation to work on it. I've fished instead. So anyway, without further ado, this is the project boat. So it is a Haines 580 SLF. So it's actually hull number 2 that was ever built. So I went through all the build codes and all that stuff. But what it is, it's a center cabin boat. So it has a small center cabin. So a bit like a big center console, except you can get in under it and then have a kip. So there's just enough room for a 6-foot bloke to have a sleep. So that's me. Which means after many, many years of having to just embrace the crap weather in Melbourne, and we have heaps of it, in the center console boat, I'll actually have somewhere to hide and somewhere to do overnighters. So we'll get stuck straight into it. I've had this boat for about a year now. I bought it in May last year. It came with the transom had been cut out. It had actually been through 2 transoms in its life. I managed to get a hold of a previous owner and get some history on it. So what had happened was the first owner allegedly hit transom issues and paid a shipwright to do a new transom. And then after about 2 or 3 years, that transom then failed. And I think he sold the boat or something along those lines. Someone else started to do the transom, and they did the transom properly. They cut this rear section out, and then they cut the internal transom out. And then they found, and I'll show the photos, but they found that the person who'd done the original transom had cut the outer skin, had done an external transom. So then they had a transom that had failed both ways. They had essentially cut the inner skin, which had been left behind on the original transom. And then, anyway, so it'd been done us about, I think the person lost all motivation for it. I think it was parked up in New South Wales for about 6 years, sitting on the trailer. And I put the call out in May last year looking for a 580 SLF, given it was been my dream boat for a long time. I wanted a basket case that needed a lot of work. And I got myself a basket case, all right? This thing was shagged. But anyway, so I leveled it off when I first got it in here, ground out the transom, cut out the console and all that stuff, which was still in. It was held on by a few bits and bobs. There's holes all through the boat where they'd cut through the hull. It was a bloody basket case. Anyway, so I got it all jigged up. This is the Thermalite transom, 2 layers of 19mm Thermalite. It is currently, I would guess, around 45-50mm thick. Let's quickly check. Yeah, we're at 47mm, call it. This has only got 1 layer of 450 chop on the outside, but it's got 2 layers of double bias, 600 double bias, and 3 layers of chop on the outside here. I'm going to build this up some more on the outside, and I've got to build it up on the inside. But importantly, it's tied in. I don't want to put a hell of a lot of weight in it because I do need to flip it to do a bunch of work on the underside of the boat. But that's the transom in. It's all squared off. And now what I've done, because my next step is to glass all of this in. I started filling the straight because I did a bit of a crappy job with my bog. So I've got to come back and re-bog in bits of foam and all that stuff. But then I'll be filling in all these strokes. So I've got a nice smooth thing to work with. And then what I'll be doing is laying glass over that and then starting with the stringers. So the stringers will go in. So I got it all jigged up yesterday. I'll cut to some stuff, but essentially I put a laser inside the boat, which shot a beam across the floor. I worked out where I want my floor to kind of sit and then leveled off the boat to suit. So this is all leveled off and all shot off and all that stuff. So that's quite solid there. And then as a double check, and I'll cut to this footage, but I ran a laser across and saw that, okay, cool, what I'd set inside the boat is now leveled off out here. So you can see that laser line is level with the bottom of the hull. Let me shoot across here. And that laser line is level with the bottom of the hull. So it's all nice and straight. It's all jigged up. It's level on the inside as well. And so It means that as I work on this thing, I shouldn't have any kind of crazy issues, because the way that it came, it had the butt cut out of it, and all this was open, and it was all skew-if and stuff like that. So it's taken a whole bunch of work. I used those come-alongs to reef the hull straight, and a whole bunch of other things. It's been a fair bit of work in it, but it should be good. So when this thing's done, and it's not going to be done anytime soon, but when it's done, it'll be a beast. So I do a lot of cool stuff in the 445 or the formula. Add another 1.5 meters of hull on that, and all of a sudden shooting offshore, shooting up for marlin, doing all kinds of things inside the bay, plus overnighters. It's a wicked boat. I described to friends what I wanted to do with it. I had a bit of a build plan of what I wanted to do, and then it was funny, the Haines group released the 620 Patriot, and how this boat essentially works. You've got, this was the original deck height essentially, and the console was above that, and then you step down, and the stringers were cut down low out here, and you step down into the front section, and it was quite strange. And the floor height was up along that sort of line of glass just there. I'm going to be dropping the floor height to this corner over here, and then build the step up back to that height, and have the console on top. So rather than stepping down, you already got the height at floor, so you kind of just step in. I'm hoping it all works out. We'll find out a little bit later, but if not, I might have to massage some things. But essentially that'll be nice and cool. And I was describing this to some friends and sort of had a bit of an idea of what I wanted to do. The 620 Patriot came out, and that's exactly what I'm building. So I'll cut some footage of that or some images of that. But the only difference I'm going to have to the 620 Patriot is I want a side dive door, so cut in there somewhere, and I'll run a normal sort of transom on the back. I want to have two normal pockets, a whale, a center live whale potentially. Depending on how much room I've got in the side pockets to put side pocket one and keep a true flat back. We'll see how that works out. But I want to maximize my space. The pockets on these were really, really deep. I want to go as small as possible. And I want to throw in some tuna tubes as well, just to see if I can do them. So throwing tuna tubes, that means that liveys are nice and easy for chasing kingies, which will be the main target for this. But the other target too is shooting up the coast chasing marlin. So very short, quick introduction to the project boat. And yeah, plenty to do. Only several more years to go. See you on the next one.